Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Coaching Uncovered podcast. My name is Chris Barry, and I'm going to be your host for today. Joining us, we have Donna Hunter. Donna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on, chat a little bit more about your coaching business. And before we get into the nitty gritty, the details, we know that you've been coaching for a while. You have a lot of experience. Can you just fill everyone that's either watching or listening in? What do you coach people on, and how do you help them?
Right. So I do not niche, although I have some areas of expertise. So I have an area of expertise in ADHD, people with a diagnosis of ADHD. However, I don't pick one group and say, I'm only going to coach them, or I'm only going to coach women, or I'm only going to coach divorcees, or I'm only going to coach whatever. I coach well being. That's my So anyone seeking well-being in any area of their life, that's what I coach. So if they're seeking well-being in academic well-being or health or mind health, any area of well-being in life, that's what I coach. And I've coached, the youngest I've coached is 5-year-old. And the oldest I've coached, believe it or not, was someone in their 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty big range right there.
You would think by the time you're in your 90s, you're like just kicking back and you're cool. But
Yeah, totally.
no, the limiting beliefs and stuff can follow us all through our lives. So,
It,
um,
it is
yeah,
crazy how that works because I've come to realize just by working with people, everything it's not like sweeping it under the rug is going to go ahead and fix it. So you might have that 18-year-old insecure boy that is having troubles and it never gets handled. And so you
yeah,
have a 50-year-old man who still has the same sort of limiting beliefs
yeah.
and
Like
all that.
was thinking about, the sometimes, and I was sharing with one of my own children. I have grown young adult children. Um, they were asking about coaching because I was telling them I'm going on a podcast and they were curious about it. And I was sharing with them about how sometimes when someone comes into coaching, it's the first time that person's ever been in a space where somebody was fully listening to them.
Mm,
And that is really where the empowerment comes, because we provide that space in coaching because we're not trying to fix them, we're not trying to change them. We're really deep listening to them and helping them find their own answers to what's going to work for them. That's why I love coaching. I mean, I could sing the praises of coaching all day long because you're working collaboratively with your client. So that's why I can coach a 5-year-old the same way a 90-year-old, or a guy or a girl, or whoever in whatever stage of life they're in, because we're working in a collaborative process. We're working together.
yeah,
It's not me fixing them or telling them what to do. That's not coaching, that's consulting, right? So
yeah.
um, coaching is such a beautiful sort of dance that you do with your clients, that you're really listening. And for many, it's the first time someone's listening.
Mm, it's
And
true.
interestingly enough, one time I was at a like one of these, conferences where you have a table set up, right?
Mhm.
And someone came up to my table and was asking questions, and I just listened to them. They spoke like for like 20 minutes. I said like not a word, really not a word, other than like that I was active listening. And then they went away. They were happy. They went away. No words came out of my mouth. And later, when I took a break from my table, they were in the conference as like a volunteer. They were helping with the conference, and I heard them talking to a group of other people. And they said, "I just had the best conversation." That's what they said, because they were being heard. They needed that space. They wanted to tell someone who was going to, because like I said, I specialize in ADHD. So they wanted to say they talk about that, and they wanted to just let that all out in a whirlwind. So if I interrupted them or anything, that was not going to be a good conversation for them, because they wanted to. That's what's so beautiful about coaching. You can have a coaching session where you maybe say two things, but that person, the amount of verbal processing they were doing and what they got out of it is just dynamic, really.
Yeah, it is. And it's, as you said, it's not just a one-way street. It's typically the coach having the knowledge, expertise, and understanding of how to essentially elicit the answers out of internally of a person, because oftentimes that person has the answers internally. Yes, of course, we come in and provide different insights and stuff, but it's so interesting how, as you just said, the listening piece, and
The
even just
deep listening. Yeah.
prompting the right questions, and how
Yeah.
that can go ahead and get everything
And knowing
essentially
when
sorted.
to say nothing and when to speak, right? When
Yep.
to like, and being comfortable. Now, this is something early on. This will be something for like new coaches being uncomfortable with. And I was no different when I started coaching. Being comfortable in the dead air, in the silence, so that they have that
Mm.
time. Like if you do ask them a question, you're giving them that time to process. And it can be uncomfortable because the silence, but there's something going on in that people aren't realizing, because inside the cogs are going and they're thinking about your question. So if you come in too soon or with another question, you've broken that process. And that process is critically important for empowerment, really, because they need that time to think about your question.
It's true. So zooming back all the way to the very beginning, what made you get into this
So
space?
the very, very beginning was my eldest child was struggling and got a diagnosis of ADHD. So I went to a support group and as a parent. And then at the support group, the person who was running it brought a coach for as a speaker. And I was like, this was like my like almost like a little light bulb going off. I said, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I just knew that was what I was supposed to be doing, because I've always been a person who's helped people, always, no matter what I was doing in my life. I was always the friend that everybody would want to talk to, because I'm non-judgmental. So just a very comfortable space for people. So that was just like a light bulb moment. So then what happened was the person that was running that support group decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And I was like, oh, this is so needed in the community. So I took over that support group. And then I asked that coach that had come, their start. And then they shared with me they went to coach training, blah, 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 blah. So that's what I did. And that's how I got into coaching. So it kind of fell into my lap. And I say, like, my career found me rather than me finding it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how that works though. Oftentimes just somebody comes across, it's like, yes, that's what I want. So
Yeah, you just know. Like I just knew that was the fit for me. I was already doing it my whole life anyway. So
mhm.
and then since then, I've done a deep dive into everything well-being, and that's why I won't turn anybody away. I'll coach anyone who wants coaching. As
Yeah.
a coaching model lends itself to just a beautiful orchestra anyway. It's like a symphony. So
Yeah.
it's a great model.
It is. So you went ahead, that's how you got into the space. And then from then, I know that you've been doing this. How many years again? Remind me, how long have you been
Oh
coaching for?
gosh, more than 10 years now. So
Okay. So over 10 years you've been
after 10,
coaching.
I stopped counting.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And during those 10 years, I'm sure that, there's been a lot of ups, there's been a lot of downs. And so a question I have for you is, what have been some of the favorite parts of you owning your business, and what have been some of the most challenging parts of your
Um,
business?
I don't really see it as downs. I just love everything about it. I say,
Mm,
if it's not even a job to me. Like if you love what
mm,
you're doing, it's going to feel fabulous. Like,
yep.
um, so I don't look at it as any down parts. It's all been, and I say like this, it's a learning curve, right? You're always learning. I'm a lifelong learner. We're lifelong learners. We're always learning.
Yep.
So, um, all of it's joyful. When I spend time with somebody and I see the little aha light bulbs going off, and when they first come to the session, and because now I'm so intuitive and I can read energy, like even sometimes even before I sit with them, I can already tell,
Mm,
from
mm,
learning how to read energetically, um, that at the end of the session, they often will say whatever they're going to say, like, or like they feel so much better because they got to let
mm.
that out, because we holding things in and suppressing things causes more messiness than
Absolutely.
having a space where someone's going to hear you, support you, encourage you, inspire you. That is, to me, is just the best. To
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was the favorite part, you'd say, of obviously having that transformation, seeing the
yeah,
people
having
growth and all that.
conversations with people, and being there, and letting giving people hope sometimes,
Yeah.
because, right now there's a lot of people who are carrying a lot of heaviness. So that's why I've kind of even gone more into an area of grief, helping people with grief. Um, when I say well-being, but I do a lot of work on people who, have a lot of anxiety, grief, these
Mhm.
types of things. So really that's a big part of the working I'm doing now.
Right.
Um, and so just that being there for somebody at a time when they really just want to feel some hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the favorite part. Challenging wise, I know you said you don't see it as necessarily downs.
Oh, well,
What are
okay.
some of the biggest challenges that you face
I've
with your
got to give
business?
some challenges, right? Who loves paperwork? Nobody.
Mm,
So that part of the business I don't enjoy, that part,
yeah.
the preparing the thing for the taxes. So the entrepreneur, probably going to hear this from any entrepreneur, not just coaches, anybody who's an entrepreneur,
Mm,
and you're basically doing everything yourself. But
mm,
I automate a lot of stuff. However, that is really the only part that I don't like about my business, is having to
mm,
keep track of all that, you know,
mm,
invoicing and all of those types of things.
yeah.
But I found a way to automate it, so it's not as daunting as it was in the early days.
True. True. I mean, you've been doing it for a couple of years, so I'm sure you've probably
Yeah.
got some systems and
I
processes that
mean,
you
you
know.
learn all that. Like when you first start, you know nothing, right? And you're just so green, and you're excited, and you can't wait to get coaching, but then, of course there's challenges along the way. Of course there's things like you're growing along with people too, right? And you're
Sure.
learning, and you're getting more confident and comfortable. Like in the beginning when you're first, starting, it's your own confidence that you're like kind of working on as well as a coach. But then once you do it for a long time, it becomes something that's, and I don't like to say easy, because for some people it might not be easy, but I
Becomes
find,
easier.
yeah,
Listen.
or you just get more comfortable in it.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you came into it, you talked about how the favorite part of your business is, seeing that transformation, having those conversations. Before those conversations with clients happen, obviously it's a matter of getting those clients. And one of the biggest things that I see a lot of coaches tripping at, not fully understand the best steps to move forward, is how do I find these possible clients, right? How do I market? How do I generate leads? What are the best ways that over a decade now, they've been doing this that you've used in order to get
I'd
leads for
say
your coaching
this:
business?
presence is the biggest thing, right? So
Hmm.
you just got to show up places, and it doesn't matter
Hmm.
where. Like say you're a person who loves, let's just talk about social media for a minute. Like say you're a person that loves, um doesn't love Twitter, now called X, but you're someone who loves Instagram. Go ahead and make your presence there on Instagram, or make your presence on LinkedIn, or so like show up and make your presence there, and just do whatever that is that you enjoy doing. So I create content too. I share content on social media spaces, on the ones I like. I've done some videos on TikTok. I share on Link. I haven't shared in a while on LinkedIn because I've been busy actually writing like a couple of books. So, but those are the things. If you're uncomfortable with social media, you can show up in your own community. Like I used to go to network. There's tons of them out there if you can find them, like meetups and networking things where people just get together and share about their business. You can do that. You also can take your things and, you know, I remember early days, I'd go into coffee shops and just leave some of my business cards. They usually have like a cork board thing. I would leave cards there. Um, because I specialize in ADHD, there was doctor's offices where I was leaving my cards. Things like that. There's just like, you just have to show up, really. You have to show up
Hmm.
and not be afraid to do that. Eventually what ends up happening, you start growing your space, you get growth, right? And then people refer. Now it's mostly referrals. I don't do any marketing now,
Hmm.
really. I share content, I write a blog, I do that kind of stuff. I guess you could call that marketing, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the same reason I do everything, just to
Hmm.
help people.
Understood. So putting yourself out there, whether it be social media, whether it be networking events, all of that, making yourself
And
known
you
as
can do it
so.
in your comfort level. Like some people might say, but I don't want to do video. They're uncomfortable doing video. You don't have to do video, because the there's people that'll be interested in reading, because we are not, and this is, I say this often, I think this will be my next book. It's not a one size fits all world. It's not a one size fits all. So Yeah, people are afraid, well, I have to be doing this, this, and this. No, you don't have to be doing all of those things. You can just pick the thing that you really are comfortable doing and do a lot of that
Hmm.
consistently, whether that's, writing or doing videos. If you're comfortable doing videos, it's okay if you're not. So there is a way, just you got to make your people, in order for people to know you exist and you're there, you have to create that presence somewhere, whether that's in your community or or online or wherever it is, just so they know you and share what you love
Yeah,
about it. Like, and then before you know it, you'll have people.
it is true.
The
I like it.
people will love what you're saying. People will love what you're sharing.
Yeah. So let's say you get the people love what you're sharing, love what you're saying. You get on a call with them. How do you go ahead and turn them into someone who's interested into an actual paying client? What are the best ways you
Well,
do that without coming across as sleazy? Because that's what a lot of coaches feel like. They're like,
yeah,
oh,
and
I can't
I
stand
was
selling.
never comfortable with salesy stuff, and I've never done it. So
Mm,
here's what I do. I offer like an initial complimentary call because I don't really know, what they have going on, and I believe that it has to be a fit for both, a fit for the coach and a fit for the person, because not everybody has the confidence or they're comfortable in coaching every situation, right? So I start with that and then answer any questions that they might have. So I explain what coaching is often and what that looks like, and how I serve clients, and then they share what they have going on, and then from there I ask them, if that's something they're interested in. The next step would be, there's options, right? One, sometimes people want to go straight into coaching with me, but sometimes I offer a discovery session. It's a paid session next, a discovery session, take a bit of a deeper dive, and even still then they're still waiting to decide if they want to do it. I don't do any pressure stuff. And I'm running a heart-based business as well. As far as money goes, I'm not coaching to become Jeff Bezos rich. That's not why I'm doing it. No one's ever going to feel like that from me, because that's not why. I see money as a byproduct. I'm doing what I absolutely love doing, making a difference for people. Of course, we all need money. We don't even have to have a conversation about that, right? Because we're all sustaining a living. So we all have to put a roof over our heads, food in our belly, and pay for whatever the things that we need to pay for. So you don't even need to have a conversation around money, really, because it's a given. So it's not an uncomfortable conversation for me. I have my fee, but I also have a sliding pay scale. And if still that's not affordable, I work with people to help make it affordable for them, because that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to help people make a difference for people, not to get rich, not interested in getting rich, interested in helping people. It's a byproduct. In doing what I'm doing, the money, the money does flow because you're making a difference. Then you can feel good. You're not going to feel like you're like trying to sell someone. No one likes that. Nobody, no person, and I mean no one. I'm talking even the rich, the people who have an abundance of money, and they also don't want to be treated like a money ticketed item. Like, they want to know you care about them. People want to know you care about them, and you care about the help that they're seeking. All
mhm.
people want that.
Yeah.
So if you come across as, about money, I've had people call me after speaking with other coaches, um, because they just felt that they just felt that they were just money, like a dollar sign, from the
Mhm.
conversation they had with the coach, and nobody wants to feel like that. So
Mhm. Yeah. Nobody likes
yes,
to be sold.
no,
They want a solution, but they don't want to be sold on it. So go
no.
on to do on
So
done.
I see it as deliver the information, trust that, if you're meant to work with them, they'll work with you, and if they're not, that's okay. They're not meant to, and I'm okay with that too. And I refer people out too, if I see I'm not the fit for them specifically, because I think, no, this isn't going to work, depending on their situation. I'm not like one. I'm not going to just say I'm going to sign you up. I'm going to say, no, I think you'd be a better fit, more of a better fit, depending, because of what you've described here. Like, somebody that might be more comfortable, coaching with a guy, or somebody that might be more comfortable coaching with someone who is a parent.
Mm.
Um, there's a lot of relatability on there, like where people want to feel comfortable with you because even age demographic, like all kinds of things. So I don't have a problem if someone doesn't sign up with me. I'm okay with that because I know
Nice.
the people who are meant to will and the people aren't. I just want them to be supported wherever they go. Often I'm
Mm.
giving people resources where, I'm saying, well, here's somewhere that you can get that because you know, they learn about the coaching and they decide that's not for them. That's okay.
Yeah, that's true. So you've went ahead, you've met with them, you obviously led with value with that initial call. They when they decided, yes, it's a good fit. I like it. You've decided it's a good fit. You get started with them. How do you what things do you
I
do
have
in
like
order
an
to
onboarding process. So once somebody decides that they do want to do the coaching, we have the lovely paperwork that needs to be done, right?
Yep.
So I send them the package, the onboarding package, and that explains everything. And from there, they can, they have a lot of options. I give people a lot of options for things. Um, I don't tell people how often and when they need to coach. I
Mm,
might suggest and say, depending on what you've shared with me, it's looking like maybe once a week would be, good. What do you think about that? Or bi-weekly, but I offer it all. And I have clients that can disappear for years, Chris, and then come back.
mm,
Yeah. And so my calendar is an open calendar. Anyone can book a session with me once they've, you know, filled out all their paperwork, once they understand how it works, once they've understood the confidentiality and all of that stuff, then we're good to go.
understood. So you get them onboarded. What are some of the things that you do in order to keep them coming back as clients?
So they get a link to my calendar and they book a session whenever they want to book a session. And you can't keep anybody where they don't want to be. So I've learned this over the years that and this is an interesting thing. So I've done all of that, meet someone, they want to sign up for coaching, send them all the onboarding stuff. They fill out all the onboarding stuff and then crickets. Haven't heard
Mm,
from them, right? And then I do a follow up email, are you still interested? Da, 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 da. I'm going to tell you something. 100% of those follow ups that I do and say, are you still interested? They've moved in another direction because people know their own minds. So I give them full autonomy, full accountability. I say, here's all the things. I'm here, and you can, book your sessions when you want to book your sessions. They have full accountability on whether they want to coach or not coach, show up or not show up. Now, if I'm
mm,
working with somebody and I don't hear from them, that's different because I might be thinking something's wrong. Are they okay? And then I'll do, a check in on somebody.
mhm.
But there's no pressure from me whatsoever. Like it's like 100% on the person if they want to coach or not coach. And then
Mm,
that's an interesting thing because you would think people are saying, well, you got to do follow ups and do this. No, because they're going to feel like you're chasing them. That's going to feel like pressure. A lot of people they're not looking for pressure. They're looking for something that, my feedback from people is that they love that they know I'm there. Like, and I'm available. I said, as long as I'm coaching, even sessions, if they can bank their sessions. I said, if you've paid for a session from me, that as long as I'm coaching, that's lifetime guarantee you're going to get that session.
mhm.
Like I'm going to honor that session
Hmm. I like it.
because that's why I'm here. I'm here to support people. That's why I'm doing what I do, to support
Absolutely.
people. So I don't do any of that pressure stuff whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's a recurring theme on all aspects. From the marketing, right in the very beginning, it's just having conversations with people, leading with value.
Yeah.
And then on the sales piece too, it's like, look, you're saying you're here, you want to get here, like I can help you do that. It's your decision ultimately
Yeah.
though. And then even if they go ahead and they say, yeah, I'm ready to go, and then they whatever, it's just your philosophy is, look, I'm not gonna have the pressure. It's just I'm here to
No,
support you.
because
I'm gonna be
life
here.
dictates. Yeah, life dictates. So even though they might have been in that time, but something might have happened that they were, whatever happened that they I've had people now I'll also offer, like payment, right? I don't say here's
Hmm.
what you're paying. So and that's an interesting thing too I've learned over the years because I've had people where one would say they're there and what they do, you think they would be able to pay my full fee and often choose lower on my sliding pay scale. where somebody who you would think is struggling with money and pay me my full fee because it's a mindset. It's a narrative in your
Mm,
mind, right? It's what they
yep.
think. So um it's like giving them that, chance, like, to choose whatever they want to choose. It gives them a, agency, something they feel, because they're coming to you because they're feeling already like their life is, you know, not where they want it to be, right? So giving
Yeah,
them power. It's all about empowerment. That's what coaching is. So you want to give them these choices. Choice equals empowerment.
that is true.
Yeah. So
Well,
that, yeah. And people like think, oh no, you have to do this. Like, you don't, because I've been running a coaching business for more than 10 years. I've never been struggling to get clients. There's a flow. So it does work.
hmm, yeah, I like it. Well, this has been awesome hearing everything that you've done within your business. For anybody that is interested in learning more about what you do, possibly partnering with you, aka working with you, or even just getting in contact with you, what's the best way for them to get in communication with you?
Um, well, I'm everywhere. Like I said, I'm on the socials, I'm on LinkedIn, but also people can email me. People can email me at donna@dhwellbeing.com, and or they can go onto my website, dhwellbeing.com, and there's a form on there they can just fill out as well.
Okay, cool. I like it. Well, thank you very much, Donna. It was great to have you on, and I look forward to staying in touch and everything.
Yes, great to be here. Thanks for having.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care.
Well, everyone, that will go ahead and wrap up our episode of the Coaching Uncovered podcast today. I hope that you were able to pull as much value as I was from it. It was really unique and cool to hear Donna's perspective of two main things really stood out to me. Number one, the fact of when she said presence. She's not doing paid ads, she's not doing these other things, but she says, look, it's presence. It's being in front of the people. And that's all that it really is, right? Because how is a person ever going to know that you are the solution to their problem? How are they ever going to think about, oh, maybe I got to work with X person, Y person, whoever it is, if they don't know you're there? So that's a big thing that I took away of just, she said, doesn't matter where, whether it be, in posts, adjusting it to whatever is best for you. So that's one of the big takeaways. And then on top of that, too, the second aspect that I was really able to take away from Donna is, as she said, just this leading with value. I'm not going to pressure you, and I'm leading with value. And it was cool to go ahead and see that, because obviously there's a lot of people out there that have a tendency to be more pushy. And I know that a lot of coaches I talk with, they resonate more with. I just want to provide value and everything. It was cool to hear Donna's perspective. So if you guys did enjoy this, please make sure to go ahead and drop a like. If you're not subscribed already, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe, and we will see you here on the next video.